Greetings and salutations, my name is JW608 and today I am playing StarMade. And we are back to the basics. Anywho, I have our little platform here, and it has its full reactor with a full set of FTL chambers and was that defense of some sort. Oh, we detached those, so let's go ahead and attach those. So today, we are going to talk about movement. We'll come back to the chambers later, but, well, we're going to need this array of chambers now. Well, not the whole array, but we're going to talk about movement. And so, the most basic form of movement is the use of thrusters. So you can come to your side panel here and click thrusters and get more information. You have a size of 1, a thrust of 45, but this is not as useful as going to stats, going to thrusters here. You have all that information, plus you also get the max speed, consumption, thrust to mass ratio, and your turn speed. I believe the turning speed has to do with the mass and center of mass and all that good stuff. Thrust is how much forward or backwards motion, how much it pushes you toward the front of the ship. Your max speed is the maximum speed your ship will go. I think, I forget what the cap is now. So let's just throw in a bunch of these. Let's rip those off. Let's go 5 by 5 by 5. There we go. There we go. 510 is, yeah, 510. 510 is the max speed without any chambers. There is a chamber under mobility to up your top speed. And you also do a thrust blast, which thrust blast takes you to your top speed immediately, or close to your top speed. Actually, I believe thrust blast 2 will take you to your top speed immediately. But you can boost your top speed up to 15% using chambers. But just for a basic ship, no chambers, it's 510 is your max speed. You accelerate and decelerate by going into fly mode, which for me is space, for you is probably going to be Z, and pressing W to go forward, and using your mouse to steer. Now, there are Newtonian physics, sort of. So when I let go, I'm still going to keep moving because there's nothing stopping me, and I'm going to turn, and you notice I'm still moving in the same direction because I'm not applying thrust in a way that'll stop me. Now, if you don't want to keep flying while you're moving, when you let go of the spacebar, you want your ship to come to a stop, which, by the way, brake is the shift key. Yep, your left shift is stop. For me, I use Q and E for up and down motion. I believe it's actually mapped with control and spacebar or something like that. I use the old school layout, not the current default. Well, we're going to get here so we have a point of reference for all this movement. Yeah, you use WASD for left, right, back, forward motion, the mouse to steer, and then you have up and down motion. C, and notice it says C for a line. I don't know what it is for you because that might be something different. That just point your ship to galactic north and it will turn it so it's the right orientation. So up is up. Now I know up is arbitrary or north is arbitrary, but in the StarMade world there's a systematic, or I guess there is a north and an up in space. It's just I think it's basically to line up space stations and make things easier to line up in fleets and all that good stuff. See aligns. Now if you hold down left Alt and move the mouse, you can spin. I believe they're actually, yeah, they're keyboard controls. I have mine mapped to the number keys, because I think those are actually what Q and E do on their own. But I don't use Q and E because I use Q and E for up and down because I'm old school. Also V. V stops rotation entirely. So if you're spinning for whatever reason, and you don't want to be spinning, let's get a good spin going here. And let go. You press V, and it brings you to a dead stop. So let's realign. Yeah, the controls here are not overly complicated. It takes a while to master, and a small ship like this feels a lot different from a larger ship, like this Corvette, which feels a lot different from a massive ship, like one of my battleships. That feels like you're riding a three-legged elephant on tranquilizers. They're big and bulky, and they take forever to turn, but that has to do with the mass, turn rates, and all that. You can adjust that using chambers. All right, so let's talk more about some of these others. Max speed 510, that's 510 meters per second. Consumption, I'm using 3,000 energy per second when my thrusters are on. See at the right here, I have my power consumption bar. When I tap or hold down a movement key, I'm using 25% of my reactor or my power consumption. Or when I brake, I also use it. But I don't use any while my thrusters are not firing. So another neat thing about thrusters, no, wrong button. I'm holding down shift and scrolling the scroll wheel to zoom out. They have plumes. So when it's active, they fire, and then they slowly glow down. And I believe you used to be able to change the color of the plumes, so let's try that. Oh, no, on a red one. And no, well, it was the core or length of core to get one of the two. Yeah, if you link the core to a color, change the color of the plumes. So all thrusters have to be the same color, though, apparently. Oh, well, actually, no, you'll probably get away. No, that wouldn't work. Never mind, scratch it. I was about to say use docked entities, but they don't fire their thrusters. I don't think. They use thrusters, but I don't think they actually fire them. Anywho, and the thrusters always fire to the back of the ship. So if I take another block of these and turn them so it looks like they should fire that way. Let's zoom back out. Nope, they fire out the back. They will always fire to the rear of the vessel. Always. Unless they don't. Now, sometimes if you put, let's see, not what I wanted. You can block them to some degree. It used to be easier to block thruster plumes. They also used to be a little more distinct. Yeah, so if you put enough blocks, you can actually block them. So if you use them for decoration, there's a way to keep your kitchen from lighting up red if you decide to use this in a kitchen or something. But yeah, that is thruster plumes. Thrust to mass ratio is 5.0. That is the optimal thrust to mass. You have 5 thrust per 1 mass. It used to be 2.5, 2.8, 2.8, I think, was the maximum. Now the maximum is 5. Oh, but you say, oh, why isn't it going up? Because it doesn't calculate the ratio past that. I know the ratio is actually literally more than 5 to 1, because we have 8,000 thrust and we have in general 300 mass. So that is well over 5 to 1, but we're also using 200% of our reactor to fire this monster. But it only calculates up to the 5 to 1 mark. I think you still get acceleration from them, but it will not increase your top speed. So top speed maxes out at that 5 to 1 ratio. So if you're wondering, oh, I wonder how much it is to get, or how many thrusters I'll need to get top speed or max speed, well, just take your mass and multiply it by 5, and that's how much thrust you'll need to generate. And that gets a little tricky because thruster blocks also have mass. So yeah, it takes a little bit of work with it. And the rest of blocks are not overly complicated. You can look at them and press R to calibrate. Auto dampeners. That is automatic dampening. You know, if in Newtonian physics, object in motion tends to stay in motion unless it's acted upon by another force. The auto dampeners are that other force. Notice my speed is ticking down slowly. That's because I turned on my auto dampeners. I'm not holding down the thrust. And it's just gonna crawl to a halt here. Come on, crawl to a halt. It goes faster, see, all right, let's turn that off and let's take a direction. We're just gonna go. I've let go of the mouse. We're dropping rather rapidly. Turn off the auto dampeners. I go quick, I let go of the mouse, I maintain that speed. You can get to that menu by looking at a thruster and pressing R, or holding down the tab, ship, thrusters. You might like auto dampeners, you might not like auto dampeners, and reactivate dampening on exit. So I think when you get out, it turns the dampening on or off, whatever. And then you have this, so you can determine where the power of your thrust goes. Forward backwards. If you crank this to all to forward backwards, all forward back, that means you can go forward and go backwards. I'm now holding down the A key and I am not moving particularly quickly. That's my speed. I'm moving, yeah. All right, let's bring her down. Now, if you want to brake faster, hold down shift to brake and then move in the opposite direction. It'll brake faster. I am now holding down A, which goes nowhere, and D, which goes nowhere. W and S will. So now you can build a spaceship that only goes forward and back. You can build one that only goes up and down. Oh, nope, takes it a second. No, this top left, it takes about 10 seconds to recalibrate the thrusters. You can build a chamber that makes that almost instant, but not here. Now reset. Now I'm holding down A, S, D, W, up and down. There we go. I don't know why you would ever want that, but you can, or all left, right, and then reset this equally distributes. So if you want one, you know your ship's only going to go moving forward and back, and maybe a little left and right. You have no intention of moving up and down, you can set it like that. So you'll get a little better forward, or a little faster forward, back, left, right, with sacrificing up, down. I like to set it, I like to leave it here because I move in all directions when I fly and fight. Although I have, in the past, at least it was an experimental ship, made a starfighter that only had forward and back. Because why? Well, I guess you don't really. Well, I guess strafing on a starship would be really, or strafing is very important on StarMade on starfighters. But anyway, and rotational thrusters, that's how fast you turn to or rotate. If I set it to 0, we recalibrate. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Recalibration complete. Now my rotational thrusters are not as good. Although I seem to be rotating pretty nice. Oh no, rotational. Yeah, that's spinny. I'm holding down Alt and moving left, right. I cannot spin anymore. I still rotate pretty good, but I don't spin. So you want to keep those. I keep them at 50. I typically, unless I'm doing something particular, I will typically keep the thrust management at default, but it's always good to know. Also, inherit thrusters from dock. If you have a docked entity and it has thrust on it, you can inherit the thrusters from dock. So, example, if I have, if you have a carrier, a larger spaceship like, I don't know, where's a good ship? Where is my Square fighter carrier. Admin load that thing. This is a fighter carrier. Also, if you hit space, you'll miss a line from whatever you're looking at. F1, F8. This vessel carries 20, I believe it's 20, square fighters. They're my fighters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, it's 20 square fighters. Now, if I go into ship thrusters, I can inherit thrust from dock. So you actually, let's see. System thrusters, stats, thrusters. Right now it's a 1.9 mass to thrust ratio. Thrusters inherit from docks. See how it jumped to a 2.6. So this ship would benefit from it because it's going to use the docked entities thrusters. And then once they're gone, it drops back down. Let's see what happens once they're gone. Launch all the ships. Then as we launch, other than it looking really cool, see the max speed and thrust to mass at the top left tick down back to where it was. Well, actually, it's ticking up because I'm at less mass, but you know what I mean. The thrust takes the right direction. So you can turn that on to help compensate for a docked entity's extra mass, basically. Or you could, like, build a dock that's just a thruster and stick it on there, and I don't know why you would do that, but you can. Anywho, that was that, and I think that's everything other than the repulsors. We'll talk about repulsors later. All right. So that has been thrusters. I was going to talk about FTL, but I guess thrusters were deeper than I thought. Anyway, let's see. Where's my... There we go. Let's go grab my platform here. We're going to use him for next time. I am NJW608. This has been StarMade, and I will dig you cats later.